There it is. That little glowing amber light on your dashboard that just sinks your stomach. We've all been there, right? The dreaded check engine light. But what if you could turn that moment of stress into a moment of, okay, I got this? Today, we're going to play detective with one of Ford's common error codes and show you exactly how to get to the bottom of it.
So you're just driving along, minding your own business, and boom, that light pops on. Your mind immediately starts racing, doesn't it? Is this serious? How much is this going to cost me? You grab your code reader, plug it in, and a number pops up.
If that code happens to be P062A, then you are in exactly the right place. And I want you to think of this code not as a problem, but as your very first clue in a mystery. And in this explainer, we're going to be your guide to cracking the case.
All right, so what is your car actually trying to tell you with this P062A code? I promise it's not as cryptic as it sounds. Let's translate this thing into plain English. Okay, so in a nutshell, P062A means your car's main computer, the control module, has spotted something, well, weird with the fuel pump's electrical circuit. It's getting a signal back that just doesn't add up. It's irrational. This tells us the problem is somewhere in the system that powers and controls your fuel pump. So now that we know where the crime scene is, it's time to do what any good detective would do. Line up the usual suspects. And when it comes to code P062A, there are 4 main culprits that are almost always behind it.
And here they are. You've got a damaged fuel pump control module, a faulty fuel pump, a weak battery, or some kind of general electrical issue. Now, the good news is each one of these has a specific fix. Our job now is just to figure out which one is guilty.
Okay, detective hats on. We are going to investigate each of our 4 suspects one by one and see exactly where the evidence leads us.
Our first suspect is the fuel pump control module. I want you to think of this as the brain of the entire fuel delivery operation. It's the little box that tells the fuel pump how much fuel to send and when to send it. And this quote really gets right to the heart of it. If the brain starts malfunctioning, it begins sending out confusing, nonsensical orders. The rest of the car's systems pick up on these irrational signals, they flag it, and that's what triggers the P062A code. So if you can confirm that the module is the problem, the fix is about as direct as it gets. You just replace it. It's basically a brain transplant for your fuel system. All right, let's move on to our next suspect, the fuel pump itself. If the control module is the brain, then the fuel pump is the heart, and it's responsible for pumping the car's lifeblood, the fuel, to the engine.
This points to a classic scenario. The brain might be sending all the right signals, but if the heart is weak or it's failing, it just can't do its job properly. The system senses this poor performance, and you guessed it, it throws that same error code.
And just like with our first suspect, once you've made the diagnosis, the solution is pretty clear. If the pump is confirmed to be bad, a replacement is the only way you're going to get things flowing the way they should again.
Now for our third suspect, and this one might actually surprise you. It's a weak battery. You know, sometimes the most complicated sounding problems have the simplest solutions. Your entire electrical system depends on a good, steady supply of power. This right here is a huge piece of evidence. If the battery isn't providing enough juice, all those sensitive electronics, like the fuel pump control module, they can start to act, well, glitchy. They just don't have the energy to function correctly, which can lead to those very same irrational signals that trigger the P062A code. And the beautiful thing about this suspect is that it is often the easiest to investigate and the easiest to fix. A simple battery test can tell you if it's the culprit, and the fix is as simple as a recharge or a replacement. Honestly, this should always be one of the very first things you check. Our final suspect is a little more elusive, a general electrical issue. Now, this isn't about one single part, like the brain or the heart. This is about the nervous system that connects everything, the wiring and the connections. Think about it like a bad phone line. The module and the pump could both be perfectly healthy, but if the wire that connects them is damaged or frayed or corroded, the signal gets garbled. The computer sends a clear command, but what the pump gets is just static, and that leads to a performance error. Solving this one takes some good old-fashioned detective work. You have to physically inspect the wiring harness, look for any obvious signs of damage, check the connectors for that nasty green corrosion, and then just repair or clean them up to restore that clear line of communication.
So, we've interviewed all 4 suspects. We have the clues. We have the motives. Now, it is time to put this all together into a concrete plan of action so you can close the case on code P062A for good.
Here's your strategy, your game plan. First, always start with the simplest suspect. Test that battery. It is quick, it is easy, and it could save you a ton of time and money. Next, do a visual inspection of the wiring. Look for anything that just seems wrong. If both of those things check out, then it's time to start looking at the more complex components, the module or the pump, which, to be fair, might need a professional to diagnose for sure.
So, the mystery is all laid out in front of you. You have the knowledge, you know the suspects, and you have a game plan. You are now in the driver's seat of this investigation. So the only question left is, what's your first move?